My name is Blake Thompson. I'm 21 years old. I'm the founder of Status 10. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I managed to make $300,000 with my personal brand in the last year. When I started with entrepreneurship, I was starting a content agency. I didn't really know what I was doing. I actually met a guy, his name was Arturo, and Arturo had recommended that I got into content services. I was making his videos, I had a camera, I was coming to his house, and I was shooting his reels. And at that time, we were really just trying to figure out the process to growing social media accounts. I'd never grown my account, I had never grown his, I'd never grown anybody's before then. But what I knew I wanted to do was crack this code. I love to make videos, but what I really wanted to figure out was marketing. Especially even when I was in high school, I took all the different marketing classes because for some odd reason, that just seemed like the route that I wanted to take. I knew somehow I wanted to make some sort of internet money, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and marketing just seemed like the avenue. So through Arturo, I managed to help him take his personal brand from 900 followers to 120,000 followers across all of his different platforms. But it didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen without trial and error. Like literally, we went through so many different ups and so many different downs. We tried every different avenue, and I'm really gonna break down what we tried and what worked and what didn't. But before I do, I want you guys to understand that personal branding is a process. I have accumulated 21,000 followers across my profiles at this point, and I'm only getting started, but it's taken me years to get here. And I would be lying if I said that it happened overnight. And to be fair, I did gain those followers fairly quickly once I figured out the exact mechanism that I need to grow my personal brand. But when I first started in this journey, I didn't know. I was probably in the same position that you are. Actually, I was in the same position that you probably are in. You're probably posting videos, you're probably making content, and you probably feel stuck. Or you might be on the other side of the spectrum and you might be just totally freaked out. You might not know how to talk to the camera, and you might not know how to be vulnerable in front of the camera. At the end of the day, if you're building a personal brand, you have to remember you are talking to one person and you're leaving an impact on one person, and it's the person that's behind the screen. You're not doing this for you, okay? And if you are doing it for you, that's where you're going wrong. You have to set your intention on the person on the other side of the screen if you want this to work, okay? Especially as a business owner. Anybody that's watching my videos is probably not just some regular person. You are probably a business owner just like me, and you probably want to know how to grow your business just like I have. The truth is, I'm no genius. I don't know everything under the sun, and I'm still learning shit as I go, but I have figured out a way to bring in clients consistently through my personal brand organically without running ads or any of that, bull crap. I literally have one funnel. I have my YouTube channel and I have my Instagram content, and we're just spamming content and sharing my story. Okay, here's the thing I've learned. If there's one thing that is gonna drive your personal brand through the roof, it is your story. You can share content. You can post 4 videos a day on every platform, sharing like 20 pieces of content a day. But seriously, if you don't share your story, it doesn't give people a chance to connect with you. And I've said this time and time and time again, and I'm gonna say this every single time. You are unique, okay? In the market that you're in, I can guarantee it's commoditized. Let's be honest. New businesses are coming about every single day, and unless you're in some really rare niche, like there are people right near you who are doing the exact same thing as you, and you need to find ways to set yourself apart. Whether you own a dental practice locally in a brick and mortar business, whether you are a coach or a consultant on the internet, or you're building an agency, whatever the heck it is that you're doing, there are other people doing the same thing as you, and the one thing that you need to do is find ways to stand out. How can you do that? Through personal branding, but not just personal branding, through sharing your story on your personal brand, because your story is the thing that sets you apart. Listen, if I'm a viewer and I'm watching you and I'm watching your YouTube videos and I'm watching your Instagram content, I want to find ways to relate to you, right? Or else you just are a guy that sells a service or a product or whatever your offer is, right? Imagine if you just watched me and the only thing I talked about was personal branding. What if I didn't tell you about my mentor? What if I didn't tell you about living at my parents' house? What if I didn't tell you about the journey it took me to get into this apartment right here, right now? What if I didn't tell you about that stuff? You probably wouldn't like me, and if you're watching this video and you've bought from me, if you're a client of mine, you can attest to that. You know that by watching me and hearing my story, you can relate to me on some level, and that's why you like to watch me. And that's exactly what I'm looking for in any creator that I'm watching, in any business owner, and anybody that's building their personal brand. That's the one thing that set my business apart, and Arturo. I'm always gonna talk about Arturo. Arturo is my mentor, he's my best friend, he's my client. At the start of our journey, like I said, he had 900 followers. Today I can pull up his phone. He generates over 100,000 views on every single video. His most recent video just did like 1 million views. He's generating millions of dollars in sales. And honestly, his program is capped. If we opened it up right now, he'd be able to clear $1 million a month with the amount of attention that he has inside of his business. I'm saying all this to say, you have opportunity. No matter what the business model is, no matter what you are doing, we as business owners all need attention to grow our businesses. So how are you gonna gather attention? You can spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars on ads, right? Or you can get vulnerable. You can start to share a piece of you. You can start to open up and get uncomfortable and tell the people about where you came from and how you got there and where you plan to go. Now you save money on ads. You are building authentic connections with people who actually want to shop with you because they trust you, they like you, and they know you. Doesn't that sound so much better than paying Facebook or Google to drive a bunch of traffic to people who've never seen you before? Now you're asking them to buy whatever your service or your product is. Like, you're asking a lot of somebody. But now imagine you just create content that allows people to love you for you, and they love what you do. And now they're there for the journey. I mean, there are so many people that I follow that have such amazing personal brands, and you hear these creators all the time talking about you need to build a personal brand. I'm not the only one that says this, right? People like Iman Gaji, Jordan Welch, all these different guys are talking about it online. So why are you not? And if you are, what do you think's holding you back? And if you haven't figured it out, this video right here should unlock that. It's your story, okay? Your story is the most important thing that you can share. If you share 10 videos that all incorporate your story and they tie right back to what you're trying to do, it's going to do way more for you than if you just share 60 videos full of value. And value is awesome. People love value. People want to learn, okay? But the truth is, people want to learn from somebody that they can relate to. So again, I managed to make 300 grand this year. Actually, I managed to make like $286,000 in a 365-day span. In the last 400 days, I've managed to make 300K, if you want me to be fully vulnerable with you. But that's personal branding, right? Like, personal branding is being authentic. We have it in our minds that we need Lambos, we need this stuff, we need all the penthouse, high rise, all this shit, right? We don't. We need us, and we need our story, and we need people that can relate to us. And you literally might be living at your parents' house, and if you are feeling uncomfortable, you're like, I live at my parents' house, but I have a skill, I have knowledge, I wanna share something. If you feel uncomfortable with where you're at, just know other people do too. When I started building my personal brand, I didn't have any money, and I lived at my parents' house, and I had to document the journey of me getting out of there. And it was miserable. I had dogs literally barking every day downstairs. My parents were loud. I could not escape the chaos. The only way that I could escape the chaos was by moving out. And what did I do? I took and I documented that entire journey. I showed what it was like to be building a personal brand and having no money and figuring it out. I managed in 3 months to go from $0 a month to $30,000 a month, all because I built my personal brand. Guys, I'm serious. You are unique. Your story is unique. And sometimes it's easy to get in our heads and we doubt ourselves. I've doubted myself for the longest time. And at some point, I just sort of uncovered a new version of me. It was a confidence that I almost didn't have before. And by allowing myself to get uncomfortable and be vulnerable and talk to the camera, listen, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to all of you. Sure, a lot of you might be watching this, but it's one individual person behind each screen. And if you're watching this in private, I hope you know that you're not alone. And even me today, like I move fearfully. I don't know what's happening next. These algorithms and these markets are always changing, but I'm doing what I can to create something that withstands all of the noise. And that's a personal brand, right? If people follow me and they're genuinely fans of me, if you in this video and you're like, you know what, I like that guy, and you follow me, you're gonna wanna follow the rest of the stuff that I put out. But at the same time, if the algorithm changes, if they make a shift, or if they delete my account, you're gonna wonder what happened to me, and you're gonna look me up, and you're gonna come find me regardless of whether the algorithm puts me in front of you. And it's because you've watched me, you like me, and now you feel like you can connect with me. So keep this in mind. All right, I don't like to talk about numbers a lot, but this is the reality. And I am 21 years old, and I honestly do live in this apartment that costs me like $4,500 every single month. And I don't say that to flex, and I think some people think that I do. I just say that so that you know what's possible. I mean, seriously, last year I was making $500 a month, living at my parents' house. I didn't even think that this was gonna be doable. And I've been living here for the last year now, and I made it work. And I'm gonna continue to make it work. And I want to inspire you and show you that you can make it work too. And honestly, none of this would have been possible without my personal brand. So I know I've got a lot to learn, and you've probably got a lot to learn too, but this channel is so that we can do that together. So if you're watching this video, thank you for sticking around. I didn't mean to make it super long and drug out. I just really wanted to drive this point home, and I wanted you to understand how important you are in your story and how unique you are. So I'll see you guys in the next video, but yeah, thanks for watching.